Auburn faces Baylor this week on Friday night in Baylor at McLean Stadium, which, by the way, Will, I found out only hosts 45,000, by the way. So that tweet that said Auburn had bought 30,000 tickets is completely off, because that would be quite an outstanding difference in fan base.
How can you in 2025 have a home capacity of 45,000? That doesn't seem real.
I was talking to my dad about it, and I said I think they had 60 to 70,000. I read it and said 45, and I said, well, Troy's got 30,000, so something's off here a little bit. But Will, I want to get on to what the main topic of the night is, and that's Auburn. And we wouldn't be talking about Auburn unless we had you on the podcast with us tonight, because this is your team, this is your specialty, and you got some banners tonight. You got some ideas, some topics we want to talk to, and we'll get right into it. And the main issue, I think, and I said it the other night at the show, and you and I have talked about it, and Bryce and I have talked about it, and Gavin and I have talked about it, all of us talked about it, is what is wrong with special teams right now.
Yeah, there's a lot going on with special teams. Who's going to kick for Auburn? Who's going to return kicks? I mean, there's a lot of injury questions on special teams. The biggest one, Alex McPherson, appears to have had a setback here late in fall camp with his gastrointestinal issues that kept him out for pretty much the whole season last year, which is not good. Not a good situation for him. Not a good situation for Auburn, as we saw last year. I mean, if he could have been healthy enough to kick for Auburn probably wins at least 2 more games last year where place kicking let Auburn down. Yeah. So it looks like it's going to be Towns Magoo is going to be kicking for Auburn on Friday night, which gives Auburn fans zero confidence. He struggled last year big time. Just all types of Petegate going on in the background there. Leave it in. Just not a ton of confidence just based off of what we've seen from Towns Magoo so far in his career. But anytime Towns Magoo is brought up and we talk about Auburn's kicking game, I say it. He was thrust into action last year. He was a late addition to the recruiting class. Really zero expectations coming in during his recruitment to Auburn that he would be kicking at all as a freshman. Mm-hmm. But, same token, like you think by the end of the year, like we say it with offensive players, defensive players, freshmen aren't freshmen anymore by the end of the year. So you think that Kentucky game, that Vanderbilt game, that Alabama game, he wasn't a freshman anymore. Should not have been a freshman anymore, and still struggled mightily, even getting benched at the end of the year. So we've talked about it. We'll talk about it more on this podcast, but this is going to be a tight game. And the kicking game is going to be very important. Not just the place kicking game, but returning kicks for Auburn. And talk about it more when we talk about Auburn's offense. You've been at practice, Ralph. You saw it firsthand. Eric Singleton is dealing with pain. He got a deep bruise a few weeks ago in camp. Hugh Freeze on his weekly show this week said that he would probably be ready to go. He feels confident that he'd be ready to go. Based on what you've seen from practice, sounds like some coach speak there. What did he look like at practice?
Well, he's listed as a punt returner right now. I think you'll see him on kick return, but you have a lot. Kick return is such a broad position people play. You can have a rotation of guys in there, and they obviously have some pretty solid guys who transferred in and who are already on campus already there. But yeah, he's the only one in non-contact uniform right now, which is concerning to say the least.
During game week, anybody other than a quarterback in non-contact does not make you feel good.
Right, and I agree. And I was telling, I don't know if my dad, I was on the way home. I said he looked fine, running full speed. He can make the cuts. He's running the ball very well, but he does in certain situations he came out limping a little bit, slightly concerning. But he does bounce back pretty quickly. It doesn't seem like it's bothering him too much to stay out of practice long enough. I think it's more of a precautionary thing to keep on the non-contact list. I kind of agree with the idea though.
I mean he's going to be very valuable to this football team. I mean, there's a reason why Auburn made him a priority in the winter transfer portal. to bring him in. We're talking about returning kicks now. We'll talk more about his impact on the offense later on, but he's going to be a huge part of this team. And recent memory for Auburn fans, my stomach is turning over thinking about punt returns.
Oh gosh.
Just can't. Seems like Auburn can't get a guy back there that you can just trust to catch the ball. Auburn's had a ton of guys where I say that he's the best returner we've got, but he doesn't catch the ball.
Yeah.
What good does he do if he doesn't catch the ball? I mean, it gets to the point in the season where I'm like, just get out of the way. Don't even put a punt returner back there. Just play your base defense and let them down the punt. I mean, it's better than turning the ball over. But I mean, field position is going to be a huge part of this game, kicking game. I mean, in every close game, it comes down to special teams, right? And I don't think this game Friday night is going to be any different.
I'll say this last thing before we go to our next one. And seeing it at practice, and Gavin's been there with me a few times, and Chad Lunsford's taking over special teams this year. He really has taken that role, and it's taking it seriously. I know that's not saying much because every coach takes it seriously, but he's honing in on every small detail on kickoff, kick return, punt return, field goal block. He's taking an initiative to it, and he's loving it. He's showing passion. He wants these guys to be perfect on every single rep. And I think that's going to show Friday night when they get out there in situations and they need, hey, we need our punt return to get maybe about 10 yards on a return, and he's got 3 guys who can go out there and catch the ball and make a play. And I completely agree. I completely believe that in this team right now, who they have on the roster, because especially what I've seen and what we've seen from last year, guys who got to play punt returner and kick returner. So I feel good about the special teams in that regard. I am with you on the worry part about the kicking game and field goal and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, this has the feel of a 4-quarter game. I said on Monday night show, and in 4-quarter games, it comes down to special teams. So enough on special teams. Let's turn to Baylor for a few minutes. Let's start with, as always, we're clicking it at the same time, even when we're not live. Talking about Baylor's strengths. I think, first of all, I think Baylor is going to be one of the best coached teams Auburn plays all year long. Dave Aranda has a really good program. He's been there. What is he going on? 8 years, 7, 8 years at Baylor now?
Something like that.
Been there a while and just runs a really clean, really tight program. He is very cerebral in his approach. I mean, he's a coach. I mean, when he was at LSU is when I think he got on most people, in the Southeast radar was he's a guy that is going to just sit in the film room and grind the tape, and he's going to, probably overthink everything. He's going to think of every scenario. He's going to have an answer for everything. So I think that's a huge strength, especially in a big game like this. First week of the season, emotions are high. We've seen the uniforms Baylor's going to wear. They bring back their chrome gold helmets. They're wearing all black. It's going to be a great environment in Waco. And Dave Aranda's a calming presence, I think, on the Baylor sideline. So not just being at home, not only having home field advantage, but a guy that I think can kind of even out the emotions a little bit for Baylor and keep them focused. Baylor's not going to beat themselves, right? At least with penalties. And Dave Aranda being a really, really great defensive coach, the defense is going to be good. He took over play calling last year, and they gave up a touchdown less a game. I chuckle because they still gave up 30 points a game.
Yeah.
But that's going to happen playing in the Big 12. I think death taxes and airing it out. That's the Big 12.
Yeah.
So certainly, defense can be a strength. I think coaching is a big strength for Baylor. Offensively, I'm looking at 2 spots, quarterback and running back. Sawyer Robertson, the quarterback, Bryson Washington, the tailback. I'll start with Bryson Washington. Big year last year, 1,100 all-purpose yards. He's got great speed. They're going to get him the ball in space. He's going to have a ton of touches. I would not be surprised if we look up when this game's over and he's got 25 to 30 touches. I mean, I really do. I think he is the focal point of this offense, at least of the skill positions outside of quarterback, because I think at wide receiver they leave a little bit to be desired. not a ton of names that pop off the page. Kobe Prentice there, former SEC transfer, but again, doesn't really scare me from the Auburn perspective. And then Sawyer Robertson was really good last year. Another guy transferred from the SEC, started his freshman year at Mississippi State, and going on now his third year at Baylor. He was really good last year. 62% completion percentage, over 3,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 153 quarterback rating, if I can talk. Good for second in the Big 12. A guy that's going to take care of the ball. I mean, that touchdown to interception ratio jumps off the page, 28-8. But again, in the Big 12, where defense a lot of times is optional, they played one, you could even say good defense, top 60 defense. And that was his worst game of the year. He threw 3 picks.
Yeah.
But, another year, third year at Baylor, third year in this system, you got to think he's going to be really good. He's getting some NFL draft buzz. He's got the size. He's got the arm strength. He's got the experience. Certainly going to make it tough on Auburn's defense. But we'll get to Auburn's defense, but I think Auburn certainly, I think it's a good matchup for Auburn. I think that's kind of been the theme from everybody leading up to this game. Baylor's got some good strengths. Some defensively, they're going to be good. They're well coached. They got a good quarterback, good running back, but you think Auburn just matches up well.
You talk about Sawyer Robertson, and obviously that's the focal point of this offense. You saw the increase in his stats from last year, from 2022 or 2023 to 2024, and a big part of that's Jake Spavital. Their offense coordinator comes in his first year last year, and this offense kind of takes a little different turn.
Yeah, big air raid guy, Jake Spavital.
Big Cliff Kingsbury kind of guy. Worked with him at Texas Tech and Texas A&M. They rely a lot on this guy to be their main play call. This is the guy that they're thinking that's going to change this offense for the future. And it had. I mean, going off last year, it did. I mean, Sawyer Robertson has his best year. They start scoring more points last year. They were more competitive in games they probably shouldn't have been. When their defense really let them down. So obviously, every game runs to the quarterback. Baylor's games always run through their quarterbacks, and with Sawyer Robertson right now behind the center, I think they have a better chance than anybody on their depth chart quarterback. Honestly,
Robertson, his sophomore year, his first year at Baylor, 2023, played in 6 games. So didn't start out as a starting quarterback. Took over for Daquan Finn. I think started the year as a starting quarterback. I do remember a couple of years ago, Baylor kind of just had pretty much no direction at quarterback.
Yeah.
But Sawyer Robertson has risen to the top, and certainly is going to provide problems for Auburn on Friday night.
And Dave Aranda, he's such a well-known coach and a solid coach, and he's been at Baylor for such a long time now, and just proves to you that they trust the guy and they want him to be there for a long time. He's got a game plan for Auburn. I mean, it's the same. People always think, this team's, Auburn's been preparing for Baylor since whenever. Baylor's been preparing for Auburn since whenever too. It's the same thing from both sides of the field. And we see a lot of teams, Will, about that talk about how hard their team's better because they've been practicing longer. They've been practicing for this game for so much longer. So does everybody else. I mean, it's the dumbest thing to hear that sometimes. And I try not to say it because I know I've caught myself saying it to myself before, but I try to lean away from that comment because it's not a good true comment because everyone prepares for everybody.
Yeah, it's kind of like what I say about bowl games, right? I mean, these coaches are good enough. You give them 30 days to prepare.
Yeah.
I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise that it's a close game. And now for this game, I mean, these coaches, they've probably been preparing since the end of spring. Once they kind of had an idea of who was going to get the majority of the snaps, they started planning. So they've had months to get ready for this. And, like we've said, Dave Aranda, really great coach. He's thought of everything. So he's going to have his guys ready.
Seen a lot.
Yeah. So
we swing from the strengths and we want to hear more about Baylor's weaknesses. If they have weaknesses, where does it kind of lean toward?
Well, they definitely have a few weaknesses, especially you compare them, you pit them against Auburn. You can see potential for weaknesses. I'll start on the defensive side. Dave Aranda made the comment last week that he's a little concerned about his secondary, their coverage skills. And now we ask, is that some coach speak too? Because we know how talented Auburn's receivers are, and if those guys can't cover it, it might be a long night for Baylor. I mean, if the Auburn offensive line can give Jackson Arnold some time, it'll be a long night. If Baylor secondary cannot cover Eric Singleton, even if he's not 100%, but you said he looked close to 100%, if they can't cover Cam Coleman, they can't cover Malcolm Simmons, they can't cover Horatio Fields. I mean, just those are the top 4 names already, and there's even more in that room. So I think that's going to be a question mark, the Baylor secondary. Now, Randa did say he loves what he's seeing from their pass rush. Could cause Auburn some problems, especially you think about Auburn, you think about their offense. The question mark is offensive line. So certainly something there to be concerned about for the Auburn side. But Baylor's secondary, at least based on what their head coach says, it could be a weakness. And then offensively, I think it's a wide receiver room. And we've heard the talk all camp out of Auburn that this could be the best Auburn secondary ever. I mean, at corner, at safety, the names Kayan Lee, third-year starter, now fourth-year starter, now third-year, can cover anybody one-on-one. Yeah. Jay Crawford on the other side at corner can cover anybody one-on-one. They bring in Ryan Strader. They bring in Rashawn Pleasant. So you got 4 guys that you think can probably start just about anywhere at cornerback. Safety, they're younger behind Caleb Harris, who is only a sophomore, but really, really good. Champ Anthony's back from his injury.
It looks great. Looks fully healthy.
Yeah, he's looking really good. And then the young ones, New Boy Fagans and Eric Winters. And Jaquan Robinson has looked really good. And can really turn some heads. So I think, if Baylor's receivers are a weakness, I mean, that's probably going to be an easy night for Auburn's secondary. I mean, it won't be easy, but I think the talent is there. Auburn definitely has a talent advantage there.
You talk about the offensive line, and today we got to see Xavier Chaplin for an interview. I really realized that why I didn't play a Division I SEC football out of high school. Because I'm severely undersized in that department.
Oh, he's huge.
Oh, he's massive. He's a very big human being. And Auburn really stepped it up in the portal, Will, about getting some two big offensive tackles who could protect Jackson Arnold. And I kind of like it. I think they went and got 2 guys who can protect the outside and get him the time he needs to make some of these throws and reads. And I like that a lot. I mean, the interior guys they're gritty, they're physical, and you got Connor Lew, who's just going to be the kind of the commander of the offensive line, and it just work. It just gels together perfectly in a good form. And then you got Brandon Frazier, who's a guy who's been in for a long time. Tate Johnson's been in for a long time, helping out tight end. You got Preston Howard, who's transferred in. He's super talented. They like him a lot. They have him playing out there a lot right now. This whole offensive line. Guys who block up front really are just gelling together, and they're working well. I like what I'm seeing at practice and what I saw in the springtime. These guys, and there's a lot of install in the springtime, but they're all just hanging out together during practice. They're working together. It looks like it's a good situation going on right now.
Yeah, and I think you did it without even trying. Segue into talking about Auburn's offense. Now, I titled it, "What does Jackson Arnold have to do to lead Auburn to victory?" But I think it's more of a conversation of the talent around him. You just talked about the offensive line. I mean, this is, by just nearly every account that I've seen, anybody's opinion, this is the best offensive line Auburn's had, at least on paper, in maybe a decade. I would say at least since 2019. and this line you think on paper is probably better. I mean, we'll just go left tackle to right tackle. Xavier Chaplin, talked about him. Auburn made him a priority out of the portal. He's a true left tackle, something that Auburn has not had in over a decade. I mean, I have to think back to Greg Robinson. I mean, the last maybe left tackle that Auburn has had, like maybe natural left tackle. And he was, and I would even argue he was more of a right tackle, just the way he could just steamroll guys in run blocking. You usually have that at right tackle. Left guard, ton of experience, Dylan Wade, a guy that's played some tackles, so you've got versatility there. You mentioned Connor Liu in the middle. Connor Liu is on preseason All-America list, preseason All-SEC list for a reason. I think he's one of the top centers, not just in the SEC, but in the country. Really, really good player. Right guard is I think kind of more the question mark. Who's been at right guard in practices?
Jeremiah Wright, I'm pretty sure.
Jeremiah Wright. And I love Jeremiah Wright. I think Jeremiah Wright is exactly what you want in a right guard. He's not going to shy away from contact. That's who you want your running back running behind.
Yeah.
A guy that's fearless, guy that's going to run through the guy in front of him. And then at right tackle, Mason Murphy, another guy of the transfer portal coming in from USC, guy that Auburn made a priority. He's done really well. He had to take some time to adjust to the southern heat. And it's been a hot fall camp up until now, game week, when we finally get some cooler temperatures, but he's been really good. So the offensive line's there. We've talked about how good the receivers are. I think all Jackson Arnold has to do is take care of the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, that is it. I mean, he can make the wrong decisions in RPOs, but as long as he's not giving the ball to Baylor, I think Auburn can live with that, and Auburn can find a way to win the game. So, I mean, for me, it's ball security. Do you have any other thoughts?
No, I mean, basically the one thing I wanted to hit on is I talked about it the other night with Georgia Tech, Colorado. It comes down to who wins the turnover game. I think if Auburn is able to limit their turnovers Friday night and just give Arnold just time enough to make the reads, because, no matter who you are, no matter what school you're at, that first game is always going to be jitters because you're playing for a new fan base. You're playing for a new team. And these guys have, he talked about today. I have a lot of great connections with these receivers. I've been working with them since January when I got here. All during spring ball, during the summer, they have that connection. He trusts those guys. So I have a feeling that he's gonna go out there and just play his game, not do anything special. He's not gonna go out there and have to be the main character on the offense. He's got so much talent around him. It'd just be insane if he tried to be everybody, do everything by himself, Yeah,
I mean, he's going to use his legs. Auburn's going to game plan for that. I mean, his legs are a huge weapon. And I've said it a couple times on the show. Everybody talks about his turnover problems. He says he's turnover prone at Oklahoma, but he only threw 2 or 3 interceptions. The rest were fumbles. I think you can coach fumbles more.
Yeah.
Out of a player than you can interceptions, I think. You can talk about technique, you can talk about holding the ball. Interceptions is all between the ears, and that's harder to coach out of somebody, no matter how much film or how many looks you give a quarterback. I mean, when the lights are on, it's all in between the ears, and that's harder to work out of somebody, I think.
I'll tell you this, and I mean, I played football for 4 years in high school, and I've seen enough college practices and when I was in college and from friends. I've never seen a school do so much ball control work that Auburn has this spring in this fall. Those guys are, they run drills all morning long, hitting, making sure the quarterback's holding to the ball, making sure the running back's holding to the ball, receivers catching in traffic. They are working on this. They want this to not be a problem during the season, because if the fumbles start coming midway through the season, you got to go back to work on ball control. You don't want to have to take a step back. It's just simple things. It's ball control should be the simplest thing you should not have to work on. But Auburn's focused on it all spring and all off season. That I feel like it's not a big deal for them right now. I believe that, like you're right, Will. They're going to limit to this. This is not going to be a problem for them this year. I feel like.
What is like you mentioned, you got a chance to talk to or listen to Jackson Arnold.
Most of my questions got asked before I could today, so yeah, I tried to, and I
Yeah.
told Bryce, I said, hey, I was going to ask a question to the guys right before me, then someone else spoke up after me. I was like, gosh dang it, dude, I gotta get better at this.
Yeah, he's heading back home to his home state. Did
Great
he
Great.
give us the quote? Give us the quote. Then he's getting
Someone
close to
asked.
home.
He was asked today, "How do you feel about the game Friday?" And his quote was, "I get to go back to Texas and play under Friday Night Lights," and I love it because it's true. I mean, he has not played in Texas under Friday Night Lights since he was in high school. And you think about it, he was the Gatorade National Player of the Year in high school. He's comfortable in the state of Texas. I mean, I know it's not saying much because he played a game last year in Texas for Oklahoma, but I mean, move past that. This kid's ready to play. I think he's probably heard some of the offseason rumors and news about him saying that he's not prepared that or Hugh didn't want him at Liberty, all that bull crap that came over the summer, which is the dumbest conversations we've ever
a
heard.
huge nothing burger.
Exactly. And I think everyone's just ready to watch this kid play and watch this entire team play. I think there's a lot of great talent on this offense and defensive side of the ball that I'm excited to see. I think Hugh Freeze is probably the most ready to, let it go out there and play.
Yeah, Hugh Freeze is certainly looking more confident, the most confident he has since he's gotten at Auburn. And I think a big part of it is this defense. I want to just touch on the defense real briefly because I think everybody's heard the noise. We've talked about it on this show more than one time. There's a lot of talent there. So much talent that Auburn is listing 22 starters on defense. Pete can't believe it. 22 starters. Have you ever seen a depth chart that has 22 starters on one side of the ball?
I'm currently looking at it right now, and I showed my dad when it came out on I guess was it Monday morning. I guess they put it out. I said you could look at the offensive side and you see the getting the names from bold. Those are the guys who will rotate in. I said you look at the defensive side. The entire list is all bolded out because they're all going to play. There's so much talent on that side of the ball. It's great because not only is it just like transfers and juniors and seniors, you got freshmen in there too.
Yeah,
because they're talented.
They're very talented and game experience. I mean,
yeah.
I'm going to quote Gus Malzahn any chance I can. He was a broken record every week. He'd say, "There's nothing like experience." So these freshmen, they're coming into play. So 2-3 years down the road, I think there's going to be very little drop off if Auburn can keep all these players together. So, ton of talent. It's going to be fun. Any names on defense or any people that you've seen that stood out?
Well, two, and one today was just I said to you a minute ago is Jordan Crawford, true freshman defensive tackle from Parker and Birmingham. The kid's strong, man. He was throwing that sled around today, and we were all getting to watch it on video. And right up front, he's going to be a fun one to watch. He's a run stopper. He's going to be a problem on defense blocking. Next one, I'm going to go again with another freshman, Elijah Melendez. Ever since spring ball, that kid has been first team defense reps, and he fits that role of a middle linebacker. Coach Durkin loves him. I mean, Coach Dirk has loved this kid since he got on campus, and the dude flies around, dude. He wants to hit. He wants to make contact. So, two freshmen that they're going to play on Friday. You think about freshmen who play, immediately you're expecting like a 5-star. I mean, these guys weren't 5 stars, but they're up there. They're talented, and they work their tail off, man.
Yeah, it's a really good group. Really exciting. Real quick before we get out of here, predictions. We talked about it a little bit on Monday. Ralph, you can take it first. How you think this game's going to go?
Well, I've sat here and thought about scores for what Auburn could be. I've heard some people muttering this week and last week when we were at practice. I've got Auburn going on the road and beating Baylor, and I got them winning a 28-23 win.
No field goals. So that's what Auburn people want to hear. No field goals.
I think Auburn goes early, like a 14-0 early, and kind of slow down a little bit, maybe get behind, and then just kind of steamroll right back through the game. I feel like that's how it's going to be for Auburn.
I think it's going to be less points than that. I mean, I've been I've been saying, the whole time, I think this could be a low scoring game. As much as I love Auburn's defense, I question the offense just as much, and it's mostly on play calling. What is that going to look like? Is there going to be any rhythm? Because Auburn they haven't quelled any stresses about, are there 3 play callers? Is there 1 play? Who's calling the plays? Hugh Freeze has not really stamped that down and make people feel comfortable. Also, you're bringing in 2 brand new offensive tackles, a transfer quarterback. It's the first game. There's certainly going to be some kinks to work out. So definitely a slow start. I think Auburn's going to come out and win this because they're the more talented team. In college, you got to have talent. In college football, you've got to have the talent. You can be a great coach, but with no talent, you're not going to win any games. So I think Auburn's just going to out talent Baylor. I think, and Auburn probably needs it to be. I think most of the games Auburn wins this year, it's going to be because their defense makes enough stops, really to keep the offense in the game. But I'm going to go even lower scoring. I think maybe Auburn wins 21-17. I think in every prediction I read like 6 before today. Just about everybody, they think Baylor's going to win, and they think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I don't see it that way. I think Auburn's defense travels, so I think the Auburn defense is going to show up, and I think Auburn's going to do just enough, score just enough to win. So I'm going to take Auburn 21-17.
Well, there you have it, guys. Will picked Auburn to win. I picked Auburn to win. That's probably the first time Will's picked Auburn to win, I think, in a long time. But just want to say we're glad football's back. Glad some SEC football's back. Glad Auburn football's back. We want to thank you for watching tonight. And I'm Ralph Leary, and this is Will Maness. This has been Auburn football on a crowded booth.
Pile in here and make yourself feel at home. Coming on. The Crowded Booth with Bryce Coon.